We're here with head men's basketball coach Bill Geitner to discuss the 2017-2018 season. How much of an understatement would it be to say that this year's team surprised you?
I don't know if I would use the word surprise. I mean, going into the year, I don't know exactly what our expectations were. We knew we had graduated some really, really good players that played a big role in our success the previous year. So I guess pleasantly surprised is probably accurate. I thought we had a chance to be pretty good. And then obviously throughout the year, I thought we got better. So that was a good thing.
If you could be honest, what did you think would have been realistic goals for this team in preseason?
I think as a staff, we sat down and kind of talked about, not necessarily specific goals, but more about how the process is going to play out, how this team can grow, some of the strengths and weaknesses of this year's group as opposed to last year's group. Obviously, we were more guard-orientated, more perimeter-orientated this year. So I think, specific goals, I think we always talk about, winning the regular season conference, getting a chance to host the Little East tournament. I thought this group, if it did certain things, could be in the mix there, and they ended up doing that, so that was a good thing.
Would it be accurate to say that what this team accomplished will never be matched again by an Eastern men's basketball team?
I think 26 wins is a lot of wins. I would never say never, but I think, what this group did, in the regular season conference play, going 13-1, is a great accomplishment. There's only been one team that's been undefeated throughout the league play. And then non-conference, they beat some really, really good teams. So I wouldn't use the word never, but I think this group is going to be viewed as, from a record standpoint, a pretty successful group.
How did this team win more games than any other in the 78-year history of the program and have the best winning percentage in 75 years?
It's a great question. I like when you say that, though. Sounds good. I think this group really bought in from day one. What the coaches were asking them to do, really committed to chemistry and being team orientated. I thought we were very unselfish on the court. I thought there was a togetherness on the court in the locker room that made this group maybe unique or special. And then they just found ways, to win specific games. And it was really a neat group like that because I think they checked all the intangible boxes as a coach. There's talent, there's all that goes into being successful, but then there's so many other things, so many little intangibles that go into being successful, and these guys, checked all those boxes.
Where would you rate this team in terms of athleticism and pure talent?
Clearly, I think we were a talented group. We had some guys that had previous success. Tarchi was coming back as a first team, all-league player. So, I think everything kind of started with him. But we had other guys that, I thought that are good players and serve a role when they're on the court. Athletically, I think we were more athletic last year. Obviously, when you have Hugh in the mix, athleticism is definitely going to be very high. So if we had more athletic teams, probably, once again, I think we were talented enough to be very successful. And then, the chemistry on top of your talent makes for a really special year.
Uniquely this year, the team chose to outrun and outgun its opponent, averaging more points than any team you've had and hitting the most three-pointers in program history. Was this approach by design or by necessity?
Maybe a little of both. I think going into the year, a big thing that we did preseason is kind of slide Tarchi to a forward position where he's been a guard his first 3 years. Sorry. So clearly we had four guards out there a majority of the time, which is going to lend itself to, spacing and spreading the floor and shooting more threes. And then it was a strength, shooting the ball was a strength for a lot of our guys. So I think this group really took advantage of getting out and, maximizing transition opportunities. They did a really good job of spacing the floor and moving the floor, moving the ball side to side, which allowed us to get some easy, quick shots. Going into the year, would I say this team was going to be my highest scoring team? Probably wouldn't have guessed that. But as things progressed, you certainly understood that this team had a chance to, go on big runs and big spurts and had the ability to be pretty explosive.
For the first time in the last few years, you were reasonably healthy down the stretch, although Kendall Marquez was not able to play at 100% in the tournament. How did this positively affect the team's ability to repeat as the Little East tournament champion and to win an NCAA first-round game?
That's kind of been an issue with us lately. The last 3 years, we've had injuries, major injuries down the stretch to some key guys. This year, we were banged up, but, like you mentioned, probably pretty healthy. Kendall's injury, clearly impacted how he played down the stretch. We lost Donnie Craig, which is a huge piece of our puzzle. But guys were able to step up, and I think we were able to overcome that a little bit. But I think with any good team at the end of the year, a big question mark is, are they healthy? And for the most part, we were relatively healthy, which allowed us to play pretty good basketball down the stretch.
You had New England's Player of the Year, Tarchie Brown, who had the ability to either make or break this team. In what ways did he make this team?
I think Tarchie really set the tone early in the season, just with his competitiveness in practice, his unselfishness in practice. I think he in his mind understood that, he was going to have to be a leader, both vocally, but then also how he approached every day and every workout. And, he showed a great unselfishness this year, really distributed the basketball, and just really turned into a complete player for us this year. And I think that unselfishness that Tarchie showed really became contagious, and everyone kind of fed off of that.
You've had some great players in your 16 years at Eastern. What characteristics did Tarchie display this year that could make a case for him as the best player that you've ever had, and possibly as the best player in program history?
I think Tarchie, as soon as he stepped foot on campus 4 years ago, he was a scorer. He had the ability to score the basketball, and I think what people watched and what Tarchie did throughout his career is just add to that scoring. He became a very good rebounder. Became a very good playmaker. There's a lot of times this year where Tarchie would lead us in transition, and his decision making became better and better. So I think he was the complete package. Both offensively and defensively, he could impact the game. And one of the nice things is I think Tarchie has the ability to make his teammates better.
Thank you.
I'm